we can say lots of things about Alex. He's a longtime friend of the conference. I think you were even here for the first one, the first DCR Gov one. And I can really feel you, what's going on in your life right now. He's gotten into a lot of home improvement projects. So last week he installed a new electrical circuit board in the bathroom. A new electrical circuit to the bathroom so you could get a vent exhaust, which is a good project to do. And the fan is working great, he says. But there's also a hole in the living room ceiling where he accidentally stepped off the joist and through the ceiling. This sort of seems a little bit like, like a National Lampoon's Vacation going on here. So I hope that you are safe and that you eventually patch that hole, which is another home improvement project. See how one home improvement project leads to another? So with all his great home improvements, please welcome Alex to the stage.
Thanks, Jared. Cool. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. My name is Alex. I'm a solutions engineer at RStudio. Just want to start off with a huge thanks to Jared and the Lander Analytics team. I love this conference. I love the Lander team. So it's just a delight to get to be here. And thanks to all of you all who are tuning in. My Twitter handle is down there at the bottom. So feel free to tweet at me if you like what you see, or if you don't, that's cool too. Love hearing that. And I will tweet out a link to these slides after the talk. So the title of this talk is Powerful, or going along with my theme song, easier, better, faster, stronger. I figure after my fun fact, I need to provide some evidence. So this is what my living room looked like on Saturday, there where I stepped right through. But this is what it looks like now. I've started patching it. Like Jared said, I just made more home improvement work for myself. I have 2 more coats to do. We'll get there. That's going to be this weekend. Anyway, I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit, because I think sort of the credibility of what I'm going to talk about really depends on whether you think I'm credible. So I just want to share a little bit about who I am. So as I said, I work at RStudio now as a solutions engineer, but this is sort of by far the least DC job I've ever had. My background is in the public sector. I was in the DC think tank world for a long time, working on economic policy research. After that, I sort of went into politics and did data science in the political realm, working on voter outreach experiments. And I was a data scientist and a data science team lead for a federal consulting firm. So I do have a lot of experience working in sort of the public sector and with the government. And during that time, several of those teams I went through transitions. So I went through a Stata to R transition. For any of you whose background is in economics, I'm sure you have lots of fun stories about Stata like I do. Also did some Excel and Tableau to R kind of transitions. And now at RStudio, I work with customers that are going through that transition. And so that's a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today is sort of how to use R packages in that transition. So let's get started. So over the past couple days, we've heard a lot about getting R into federal agencies. We've heard about sort of some of the certification difficulties, how getting the software prepped is hard, the security requirements are high, those sorts of things. I'm going to totally ignore all of that for the purposes of this talk. I'm going to assume that sort of somebody else paved that road for you. Wendy and William gave those great talks yesterday about sort of how that process works. But even once that is done, you're not finished yet, right? Even once you have R that's allowable in your organization, and that's true whether you're in a federal organization, a consulting organization, or something totally unrelated. You actually need to get people to use R. You need to get buy-in, and because you're here, I'm going to assume that this applies to you. You probably want to do more R. You probably want your team to do more R. And so I'm going to talk a little bit today about some strategies to get there. And of course, I'm going to talk about it using my personal favorite tool, which is of course the R package. And not just any R package. We're going to talk about the power of building your own R package. So I'm going to start off talking a little bit about why you would build an R package. And then we're going to talk about the how, sort of the strategy, and also the mechanics of building your R package. For those of you who've built lots of R packages before, the mechanics piece is going to be pretty basic, but I think it's worth going through because the tooling has gotten so good. It's really easy to make an R package, and there's just no excuse for not doing it. So let's start off with why. Why would you, for your team, want to write an R package? And the answer, of course, is that it will make your work easier. It gives everyone access to the same set of tools and provides a pathway to get everyone sort of onboarded to those tools, to get everyone using those tools. It's better. It gives everyone access to like elite level tools, right? Like everybody gets to take advantage of the knowledge of like the most knowledgeable person on the team. It makes your work faster because your iteration will be shorter, right? If you do something this time with a project, you turn that into code. Next time, that gets faster. It's this virtuous cycle. That's the whole benefit of using code to do data science. And of course, stronger, right? Because code in a package can be validated, it can be tested in ways that are hard to do in just sort of like a vanilla analysis. It can make your analysis more bulletproof. You may even have requirements that your analyses be validated in certain ways, and a package can really sort of aid with how that all works. So of course we're gonna talk a little about like how to make our packages and use them to make your work easier, better, faster, and stronger. So you're here at this conference, so I'm going to assume you're like the R expert on your team, or at least like the R enthusiast, the R evangelist. And so like very often this story goes, and I've heard some great talks here at DCR talking about how to do an R package. And like Jared said, I've been coming to this conference for a bunch of years. I love this conference. And I think the first one of these conferences I came to, I went home and I was like, let's write an R package, team. And so like the idea was like, I'm gonna write this R package. It's gonna be amazing. Then like team, everybody is going to use it. Like that's great. The problem is that like it totally didn't work, because like this is what I call like the expert package development pattern, and this can work. There are cases where this works, but there are a couple of problems here, right? First of all, like adoption is really hard. So like maybe these people on your team are really familiar with R, but like maybe they don't like the way you wrote the package. Maybe like you didn't write things that were helpful for them, or the API isn't good. Maybe like this person is like really a Tableau person, and like they don't really know R and don't particularly care that you've like written an R package that doesn't really help them. Maybe this person is an Excel person. They're like, doing whatever they're doing all their stuff in Excel. Maybe this person is like a new grad and like they don't know what they're doing. They're just like figuring out, what is this whole thing. And so, adoption here can be really hard because people are comfortable with different tools. The other big problem here is that like it assumes that the only relevant expertise is our language expertise. But the other kinds of, there are many other kinds of expertise you might want to sort of encode in your package, like data visualization or like visual design, right? Like maybe you want to have custom ggplot functions in there. Maybe you want to have custom R markdown templates or CSS for your Shiny apps, right? Like that probably should go in your R package. Maybe you have like custom machine learning or stats things that want to go in there. Like, for example, there was at a previous job of mine, we had to derive our standard errors for estimates in certain ways. And like the person who understood the standard errors best and like understood the derivation of those standard errors was not the best R programmer on the team. Or like this is one that comes up all the time, I think, especially in like the federal context, but really like every place ever, which is that like the data model, right? Like the data access is sort of complicated, and like there's like that one person on the team who like knows how to actually access the data, and the rest of you want to take advantage of that, but like you don't all know it. Like this came up in a previous job of mine. One of the guys on the team, he was really, we were doing hospital data, and so like we had all these different data sets with like the admissions were separate from the diagnoses, and like you had to match them up to do anything meaningful. But like there was one person on the team who like understood how they matched up. And so we really wanted to encode that into a package, but like that, he wasn't an R programmer. And so like that was really hard. So I want to suggest two other models of package development that can be way more effective at actually getting your team to use those R packages. And so the first one is, particularly if you're a team where you have people using all kinds of different tools, is like you going home all jazzed up from the DCR conference, your job is to start the package. Maybe you write the package skeleton, but then the idea is that you get everyone else to contribute code to the package, right? Everybody adds their own code to the package, and the idea here, right? The goal is both that along the way, maybe you work with some folks, they learn some more R, they get more comfortable with the R package, but the other part, which is even more important, is that they get excited, right? This package then is theirs. They've helped design the package, they've helped write the package. This is just an incredible way to get buy-in from your team on being like, yes, we are going to use R because it is awesome. Like, we had experience writing this package, and now we're going to use it. It's a great way to get everyone involved and get everyone bought in on using your R package. I call this the everyone package pattern because everybody is contributing to the package. The other pattern I want to talk about is a pattern that is maybe for teams where sort of people are more comfortable with R, but you're trying to figure out how to make your projects more verifiable, more reproducible, and that is the sort of package per project. So like for every project you're working on, like folks work on a package that corresponds to that project. This is the per project package. And this is really a great strategy when like your primary goal is to increase the sort of testability and verifiability of your analyses. One thing I do want to remark is a lot, sometimes this gets interpreted as make your project into a package. I am personally not a huge fan of that pattern. Maybe you are. Maybe this is where I'm going to get yelled at on Twitter, but I'm okay with it. I don't love the project as package. There is an R project and there is a package, and they are distinct entities. And I really like to use them for their intended purpose. So I recommend that folks sort of adopt this kind of strategy where they have, an R project. Oh, sorry, just a project directory that's where the Git repo is. Then you have separate like package and project subdirectories. They're parallel, but they're not the same. And then like your functions go in the functions inside the R package. Your tests go in the tests. And then you have separate like actual code that builds your report, does your app, sort of whatever you need it to do. Again, my recommendation is to keep those things separate because I find that this is a cleaner division of labor. It helps with separation of concerns better in terms of writing good, clean code. Helps with testability. If you happen to be using RStudio Package Manager or RStudio Connect, it just works much more cleanly in terms of the deployment pipeline. And so, I really recommend this. If you want to read more about this, actually, Miles McBain wrote a great blog post on this topic. I don't have the link handy. I probably should have gotten that, but he wrote a really good blog post. He also he's like an R community kind of guy, and he also thinks like the project package is great, but not the project as package. So anyway, that's my soapbox, and I'm going to get off it now and just talk about some less controversial things. So now I want to do a quick demo of how this works like in reality, how you can create an R package in really just a few minutes. So like I've got about 8 minutes left in my talk, and I think I can get this R package written easily in the time we have left. So I'm going to pull up RStudio server here. And so here's a function that I wrote. First, let me just load it and I'll just show you what it does. So this function gives me a random lyric from the song Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger by Daft Punk. I can also ask for a specific line from the song. So like that should give me back the same line. By the way, this function makes use of the Genius package, which is a CRAN package written by my colleague Josiah at RStudio. It's very fun if you want to get song lyrics. So let's just talk through like what the code here is doing. Oops, wrong one. Where'd my source pane go? Uh-oh. There it is. All right, let's talk through what the source code is doing here. So we've got my function definition here. I'm grabbing all of the lyrics for this song using the Genius package. Then if this line was specified, I'm taking that, or I'm going to sample a random line. And then this is just sort of pulling and returning that line. So again, I can show you that sort of. I'm too zoomed in. It's hard to see everything. I can show you. That's how that works. That's pretty straightforward. So now let's turn this into a package. So with the use this package, creating a package is so trivially easy. I'm going to do use this, if I spell it correctly, create package. I'm going to specify a name, Daft package. Great package name, Alex. I'm going to open my session. It's going to take just a second to load up. And what you'll see is that what use this does is it creates the whole package skeleton for me. This makes it super easy, right? Like for any of you who know about package creations, it's created the description for me. I can fill in like what this actually does. And it's given me my namespace as well. It's actually empty. Unlike if you do new package up here, it doesn't have that hello world function, which I actually prefer. So anyway, I recommend use this over up here. That's if you already create packages. And so now what I'm going to do is to now add my function to my package. I'm going to just copy and paste in my function definition. I'm going to save it, Daft function. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some documentation for this function. I can go up here to code, insert Roxygen skeleton, or I can just hit, what is that? Command Alt Shift R to insert it. And I'm going to a good song. I'm going to write my documentation. Which line? Defaults to NA random. Returns a character. And I'm going to put an example here. Right, like that. So here are a couple of awesome things about this. Thing one is that if I have an example here in the examples, I can just run it if I had loaded up my function. The other great thing is that now when I do DevTools document, so this is my favorite moment, the like moment where like I feel like I've written a real thing, where I go Daft lyric, and like there is real function document. It's taking a moment to write it. My moment, you're ruining my moment. Here we go. That like this is real function documentation that got auto-generated from my comments over here. And this is like whenever I'm writing a new package, this is just like my favorite moment where it's like, wow, I did a real thing. That's so cool. Anyway, so now that I've rendered it, I'm going to load up my function and I'm going to run my function. Oh, except it doesn't work. Because I didn't have the pipe here, right? Like this is actually not from my package. Same thing with dplyr and genius. Like those are outside packages that get referenced. And so I need to make sure I include those. So I'm going to do use pipe. And it's that easy to add the magrittr pipe to your package. And similarly, if I want to use package, if I want to add dplyr and genius, I don't have to remember how to add them. I just like use this package. And in case any of you are curious where that goes, it gets added here to the description so that it now knows that it imports those. And if somebody were to load up my package for the first time, they would be auto-installed. Those packages would be auto-installed for them. All right, so now if I do document again, load it up. Huzzah, it works. Do it faster, work is over. Right, like these are classic lyrics here, real poetry. Okay, so we have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. We're gonna add some tests in that last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And so this is, again, almost trivially easy to make this verifiable. We're gonna do use teststat. Teststat is an R package that allows you to add tests really easily to it is a package that makes it really easy to add tests to a package. It's a little bit of a mouthful. Now I'm going to run use tests, daft test. I'm going to open up my test file and let me make this a little bigger. I'm going to test lyric getting. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these expect functions. These expect functions are going to make it really easy to get the expectations. I wrote out mine ahead of time here just to make this go a little faster. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting the lyrics sort of ahead of time, and then I'm checking with this expect true that my lyric that it returns is in this lyric, which by the way is just a data frame that looks like this, in case you're curious, right? I'm checking that it's in this lyric vector. And so now with DevTools test, it's going to load my package, run my tests. I am a coding rock star. Wow, that's so exciting. It even gives you encouraging messages. It's one of my favorite features of test that here. So anyway, so that's it. we created an R package, we added tests. All of a sudden, that work that I did to write this function has become so much more verifiable. It can be reused across different analyses. Like that was almost trivial to do. And so, I cannot emphasize strongly enough how much this can be a tool for you and a tool for you to onboard your team to the awesomeness of using R. Anyway, that's what I've got to share. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are interested in more about writing R packages, there is an R packages book written by Hadley Wickham and I believe Jenny Bryan. It is free for use online. It is fantastic. Really just a great read if you're curious about R packages. We talked about using the use this and test that packages. If you're curious about then like once you've created the package, how do you manage it? I'm going to be doing a public webinar on this with RStudio, so stay tuned on the webinars. I believe it's webinars.rstudio.com. If you want to sign up, you can get alerted to our upcoming webinars to learn more about how you sort of manage your package environment. But the very short version is that you can use the renv open source package to manage the set of packages you have installed in your environment. And RStudio Package Manager is a product that RStudio sells that allows you to manage the packages in the repository environment, including if you are offline or air-gapped. That's it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and feel free to tweet at me. Thanks, Jared and Lander Analytics, for having me.
Thank you for presenting here. And if you want to learn more from Alex, he's doing a Meet the Speaker during lunch. So I believe lunch starts at roughly 12:25. Go to the RStudio booth during lunch and meet Alex and talk to him about writing packages or about how you patch holes in the ceilings of your house, because both are useful skills depending what you're doing. He did mention building packages using RENV and RStudio Package Manager. And I've been using RENV a lot. It's a nice way to keep individual packages for different projects. And he also mentioned Miles McBain has this nice blog post about project management. And so we've had both Miles McBain, we had Miles McBain's talk at the meetup a few months ago, and he gave a whole talk about using Drake, which is a great way to manage projects. If you're not into the package-based project, you can do the Drake-based project. So if you go to nyhackr.org, you can find Miles's talk there. But this week, literally 3 nights ago, on Tuesday, however many nights ago that was, 3 nights ago, we had the author of the Drake package, Will Landau, come give a talk about the successor to Drake, which is targets. So you want to learn more about Miles and you want to learn more about Will, check out nyhackr.org. Miles's talk is already up there. Will's is not posted online, I don't think yet, just because we went straight from the meetup into the conference. It'll definitely be posted by next week. But those are great resources for you. I've learned a lot from Miles's blog post and from Will's talk and everything. Oh, Will's talk is up. I just heard Amada just told me Will's talk is up. So you go to nyhackr.org. You can see talks from both Will and Miles McBain talking about project workflows and everything. That's really fast work. Thank you, Amada and Michael, for getting that stuff up there so quickly.